Good Wednesday afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Nutmeg Sports on the HAN Network. I'm Rob Adams. Donald Eng off with the Monroe Courier. Dave Stewart off doing what Dave Stewart does. So we'll hopefully, if we get a chance, we'll talk to Dave today. If not, we will get him back on next week. And we'll see him this Saturday when we're down at Darien High School. And why will we be at Darien High School? Really, when I say huge lacrosse game, probably not fair. And I'm not an overhype guy, but this is about as big a lacrosse game this Saturday as I've ever broadcast, and I've been doing it for a few years. Darien and New Canaan, two teams in the top 10 in the country, regardless basically of what poll you look at. They're two of the best. Now, to get to that point, we needed both Darien and New Canaan to win last night. Darien took care of business, knocking off St. Joseph 20-2. But New Canaan had themselves a battle with another unbeaten team, the Staples Wreckers, who were kind of sitting in a corner going, hi, look at us. Us and the Ridgefield Tigers, we're not so bad as well. New Canaan needed to beat Staples. Did they? We have highlights from last night. Let's watch it right now on Nutmeg Sports. From Dunning Field in New Canaan, it's high school boys lacrosse on the HAN Network. Good evening, everyone. I'm Rob Adams with the white and always that little hint of silver and the close look, and they are able to put it home.
And that's a good job. We saw that first possession. Staples in the zone defense.
Taken by the Rams, looking to break out and put on net, and they score again, 2-0. 7 seconds gone by, second quarter. Behind the cage it is. 50 seconds remaining on the man advantage. Getting down low. A good look and a bouncer in by Reale. Ties it at 2. 7 seconds remaining before the first penalty expires. And it's on net and they score. Chamberlain makes it a 3-2 game. Swindell inside the numbers. The fake, back to Swindell, and the bouncer, and he scores. And that's one that you want to have back. When you're against a team like this, Frank, you can't allow goals like that one. Holzer to Swindell. Swindell to Holzer. Got in too close and rockets it home. 4-3 Rams. Smith to Burt. Back to Smith. Smith will put it on net and get one.
You could see Steve Young pulling the monkey off the back with that shot. Kyle Smith, who almost about 5 minutes ago went off the field and threw his stick up in the air wondering what he had to do. Great bounce shot there, able to get it to go, and like you said, AJ.
There's Swindell. Bouncer got away from Braden and scooped right up by the long stick of Billy Hutchison. And then the turnover and a bad one, and Apelt makes them pay. 7-3. Spinning Goldberg. Goldberg behind Reale, waiting. Throws it, scores!
Stick originally. And then in the second quarter, he went to throw a pass, and the head just went flying through the air.
What a backhand pass there. Down it goes. Tic-tac. No! Drew Morris again.
And Tanner Wood took 1 second too long to hold on to that pass. But credit Drew Morris in the anticipation, knowing to get over in time, sprawled out on his legs, and just got the stick where it needed to be.
They're going to run this one out as we're down to 3, 2, and 1, and this one is over. And the New Canaan Rams able to stay perfect. They improve to 9-0 on the year, and the final score 7-4, and the national showdown now ready for Saturday.
Well, thank you, Rob. I'm here with Drew Morris, the winning goaltender. Drew, first of all, congratulations on the win. How'd you play so well in net tonight?
Thank you. You know, the defense stepped up. We played huge tonight. I think we took close to 10 minutes of penalties, but we only gave up 4 goals. So our defense, our whole unit was tremendous. They gave me great shots to see, and I was feeling good tonight.
And Staples has scored more than 10 goals in all their games until tonight so far this season. So normally a 3-goal deficit isn't that much for them. but from our perspective, it seemed like you guys were up 5 or 6. Did you feel that way defensively?
It felt great. Our defense was on the whole night tonight. After a little slow start, we were just feeling great. They're a very good offensive team, but our 3 primary pulls, James Cravato, Andrew Barisol, and David Strupp, did great again tonight.
And then I think what everyone around the conference is thinking about is that Darien game on Saturday. First of all, how did you not overlook Staples with that game just a few days away? And 2, what do you guys think about going into Darien?
We knew this was going to be a huge game. Staples was undefeated coming into this one. They're going to give it their very best. Everyone does when they play us. So we knew we couldn't overlook them. And, going into Saturday, it's going to be a great game. It's going to be a great day. And, they're a very good team. We've got a lot to do to prepare, but we're feeling good.
All right, thanks so much for joining me. Congrats on the win.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Rob, back up to you.
All right, so there you have it. New Canaan gets the win. Staples was spirited but couldn't take advantage of opportunities. They had a couple of man-up opportunities that they did not get goals on, and the 7-4 final score reflects that Staples is a team definitely in the conversation for the FCAC, but they're not quite there just yet. They can play with this New Canaan team. There is some talent there. Certainly that one big save by Drew Morris kind of shows why he is an all-world goalie. So again, credit to Staples. They will be a factor later on, but it's still New Canaan and Darien's world, and they will meet Saturday. We are planning on an 11:30 pregame show at Darien High School. Excited to do that. We'll talk with players and coaches from both teams. Dave Stewart will be along. Frank Granito will be along. We will have Justin Galanti as well. I believe Dan Arestia is also going to stop by. So a busy day on Saturday, and then that big game, Darien, New Canaan, as we said, 2 of the best in the country. Speaking of a guy who knows lacrosse really well, a guy named Mike Sportini will join us right after the break. He is also known as Laxworm. We'll take a break and we'll come back with more Nutmeg Sports after this on the HAN Network.
Had a sports injury or slip and fall that needs immediate care? Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care gives you direct access to an orthopedic specialist fast without an appointment. Biking, golf, tennis, soccer, whatever the sports injury is, sprain or fracture, Coastal Ortho Express can help. Coastal Ortho Express Urgent Care open Monday through Saturday in the iPark building at 761 Main Avenue in Norwalk, or go to coastalorthoexpress.com. That's coastalorthoexpress.com. Like them on Facebook.
Walter Stewart's Market in New Canaan is your time-saving local shopping destination for the best of spring. Find many of your favorite products, from great specials on everyday items to the freshest organic produce, artisanal cheeses, and grass-fed steaks. Drop off your knives to be sharpened, grab a beautiful bouquet of spring flowers, and stop in next door for a wine tasting. Plus, their personable staff is always ready to lend a helping hand. So stop in to Walter Stewart's Market, 229 Elm Street today, or shop online at stewartsmarket.com.
Alberto Londano Professional Painting, Wallpapering, and Carpentry has been serving Fairfield County for over 20 years. Based in Norwalk, Alberto takes pride in his work by offering you only the best quality service and products. Call Alberto today to get a free estimate and be one step closer to a new and exciting home makeover. 203-866-9635.
When it comes to local entertainment, we've got it all.
From movies, local artists, etiquette, and more.
Watch HAN Arts and Leisure every Thursday at 2 on the HAN Network.
You are watching the HAN Network, and you're not alone. Nearly 500,000 viewers enjoyed our broadcasts in the first 5 months. Advertise on the network that reaches Fairfield County, Connecticut's most engaged audience. Contact Jessica Murrin, Advertising Director, at 203-273-7312 or email jessica@han.network.
Welcome back to Nutmeg Sports for a Wednesday edition here on the HAN Network. I'm Rob Adams, and again, as we've been talking about all week, a pretty exciting week in terms of high school lacrosse, and really a huge game coming up this Saturday now with Darien and New Canaan both undefeated, and a guy that we haven't had on in some time, and I thought he'd be the perfect guy to have on this week, is a gentleman that's known as Laxworm. We also call him Mike Sportini. Mike, how are you?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Doing great, thanks, and thanks for a few minutes of your time. Tell me about this matchup and what makes this game so particularly exciting coming up on Saturday.
Well, I think there's so many layers in this game. I think the first one, obviously, is 2 undefeated teams, two nationally ranked teams, as we've seen in various polls. One poll is Darien 4 and New Canaan 7, another one Darien 4, New Canaan 8 or 9. So you've got two nationally ranked teams in there, so there's another layer. And obviously the Connecticut. These are the two premier teams over the last few years that we have seen in Connecticut, and by premier they have been really the elite teams. They've been above all the others. So getting these two teams together is a great rivalry, and I myself am looking forward to being at this game and watching. It's going to be great.
Why are they so good? You know, for the layman who looks at lacrosse, what makes these two teams so good and so recognized nationally?
Well, I think listen. There's a couple teams in Connecticut. You've got Darien, New Canaan, Wilton, Ridgefield that have had a long history of really strong lacrosse programs, and I think it starts at that youth level. They're bringing kids in and they're training them to become these high school players. And as they go through their programs, you've got a lot of high school interaction with those youth programs. So by the time they get to high school, they know the systems, they know the terminology. They try and keep it consistent throughout. So I think that's the big piece. And these are big sports for these areas. Keep in mind, lacrosse is just over the last, I think in Connecticut high school lacrosse, it's increased 25% over the last 7 years. So it's relatively new to other areas, and these guys have been around for a long time doing what they do. And you got to throw Wilton in there, obviously, too, as another big program when they have the most state championships. But those teams are really the ones. They have great feeder programs, and they have great coaches at the top level.
And they've also got great players on each squad. I've been so impressed by Drew Morris, the goalie for New Canaan. Obviously, great defense as well, and great players on the Darien side. Do you have a sense of these two teams in terms of a scouting report for what people should watch on Saturday?
It's going to be an interesting matchup. Darien's defense, I thought, was very, very strong, and then when they played Niskayuna, it just looked like they were Swiss cheese. But you had two very powerful offensive teams on the field as well. New Canaan has not. If you look at the points that each team has put up, and it's really not a great way to gauge it. But if you just look at it, New Canaan has struggled a little with a few teams. Good teams, though. They beat Loyola Blakefield. Came back. They had Fairfield Prep that next week, and many people thought they sputtered in that game and didn't look as strong. Now, Prep's a good team, but New Canaan definitely didn't look as flat. When I saw them play a team like Wilton and they held them to 2 goals, that to me was really seeing their defense very strong, but more so their offense. New Canaan's offense, when they have possessions and they're able to maintain possessions, they can really do a lot of damage to you. And that's really, to the matchup to me, is Darien's defense versus New Canaan's offense in this game. I think Darien's going to get goals. I don't know that you can stop their offense. They have too many weapons. But I think this matchup between New Canaan and New Canaan's offense and Darien's defense is going to be the key.
You brought up that Niskayuna game, and I think that's a good one to talk about against Darien, because Darien did have a lead, and Niskayuna made that game a lot closer, and I think some people came out of that game a little concerned about the Blue Wave. Did you get that same sense?
I did. Niskayuna is a good team. They were I don't know what region or what section they were. They were state champions in New York, so they're a good team coming in. Darien put 20 goals on a very good team, so you could say, okay, they put 16 on Darien, but there were 20 goals put on a team that is an outstanding team, and that says a lot about that Blue Wave offense. So I wasn't overly concerned. I was surprised that a lot of points were put up on both sides, because I thought both teams had a better defense than what it showed on paper, and I still believe they do. I just think those were just two powerful offenses, running and gunning. Darien has a great transition game, and I think that is where they tend to get a lot of their points is on transition, and New Canaan is going to have to worry about that, because you saw it in Niskayuna. It was a run-and-gun game, and I think when you start talking about New Canaan, they're going to have to figure out a way to slow that transition game down by their rides, and that's a tough thing to do, because Darien is just so good with that.
We were talking about you coming on with us off the air before the show, and it made me think to myself, I've never asked you, where did the Laxworm, where did the nickname come from, where did the concept come from?
That's an interesting story. It was funny. I've always been into lacrosse. I've coached at various levels, and I started doing a little blog one day, and it was really just more so locally and talking about one of the high schools in the area, and my daughter was sitting next to me, and I said, I need a good name for this blog, and and it was just one of those crazy things where I was like, okay, lax. And this is the craziest story. So she gets her cat and picks it up, and it had just come in from a rainy day, and on the bottom of its paw was an earthworm. And she said, ew, a worm. And I said, that's perfect, laxworm. And that's where it really came from. It was right in my kitchen. The cat had come in, and that's how the name came up. And then from that point on, it just branded in that sense. And as I worked at the MLL, the Major League Lacrosse side with radio and things of that nature, it just seemed to fit in. And at the time, I wasn't really interested in outing myself as, Mike Sportini. It was just more of an anonymous kind of fun thing. But it's grown and it's done its thing. So now it's a little bit bigger of a brand and a program.
And you've been one of the go-to guys for me. You're a great follow on Twitter. I know you've had some good times with your own website and broadcasting as well. How's all that going?
It's going well, having fun with that. I mean, you know how fun. If you're going to broadcast, you got to enjoy it. Otherwise, it's going to be a grind, and you really have to be interested in it and fun. And I enjoy it. What better thing for a lacrosse junkie like me than to talk to the best players, whether it's high school, college, or the pros, and the coaches, and be able to pick their brains? I mean, there's nothing better than that. You don't get that access very often, and I'm lucky enough to have that access. So you really learn a lot about the game. You learn a lot about the psyche of the players, and that's really what I enjoy. And the shows that I do really gear more around, that side of things and a little bit more of my opinion than it is, more of a statistical, scores and numbers show.
Do you get a sense of a prediction for this game? Do you feel any way that this is going to turn out on Saturday?
I knew you were going to ask me that, and I gave that some thought. And the reality is this is going to be a close game. I think these two teams, it doesn't matter where Darien sits in rankings or New Canaan sits in rankings. This is a rivalry that has really become very strong between these two teams. In fact, in all sports, these two high schools. I think, if I look at this and I really try and break it down, New Canaan has some great middies, and they're going to put some Kyle Smith. He's going to put some goals up there, and Darien has a very strong long pole defense, the close defense with Ivanchek and Byler and those guys. So I look at this and I say, where does it fall out, and where do the matchups come? I think it comes in transition, and as I said earlier, it comes in that what New Canaan can do against the midi topside defense of Darien, and they have very good defense. So I think Darien wins this. I'll give them. I'll say by 3 goals. I think it's going to be close, but I'll go 3-goal by Darien.
Can you remember a game that you've been more excited about in Fairfield County than this one?
This is the game every year that I think we all look towards, and it sounds crazy because everyone kind of looks and says this is the one game of the year. This, and if they get together at the FCX Championships, obviously that's another big one. But these two teams just seem to have that cachet and that swag in the state, and I think no matter where you are in the state, upstate, mid-state, down in Fairfield County, this is the game you mark on your calendar because it's good lacrosse. And it's two good teams that have a rivalry, and I think it's turned in. New Canaan and Wilton had rivalry for years, still do, but I think this is more of the recent, new age rivalry in our lacrosse right now in Connecticut. And I think these two teams, you can't do anything but just circle that on your calendar and say I can't wait, because it doesn't matter where they are in the rankings. It is going to be a good game.
Mike, hopefully we see you there on Saturday, and long overdue to have you on, so let's do it again. I know you're more than just a lax guy. I run into you occasionally at football as well, so we'll have you on again soon, and thanks so much for your time.
Rob, thank you. I appreciate it.
Anytime. Mike Sportini, who is also known as Laxworm, will take a break here on Nutmeg Sports. We'll continue right after this on the HAN Network.
It's time to come back to hometown banking, where people are taken into account, not just balances. Where community comes first. A place where there's more than one kind of interest. Where automation will never replace consideration. Where they not only know your name, they know your dog's name too. It's time to expect more. It's time to bank well. Bank smart. Bank local. Bank well.
Are you hoping winter is finally in our rearview mirror? Can't wait for the air and water temperatures to start rising? Well, if the answer is yes, you need to get over to Darien or Westport and stop by the Dock Shop, where it's always summer. Both shops are being stocked with lots of new merchandise, including fishing tackle, marine electronics, boating supplies, and more. But remember, the Dock Shop isn't your average tackle shop. At the Dock Shop, you'll also find the finest selection of nautical apparel, jewelry, home decor, and gifts in New England. Boater, beach bum, fishermen, or simply love the New England coast, this is a unique place to shop. The Dock Shop, 51 Tokenique Road, Darien, and 609 Riverside Avenue, Westport. Online at dockshop.com.
For over 25 years, Mike Cizik Painting and Wallpapering has been the name to know for residential and commercial properties in Fairfield County. He uses only the top brands, including Benjamin Moore, for impeccable preparation and lasting quality. Call Mike now and receive $500 off any job over $7,000. Mike is currently accepting reservations for spring, so call him today at 203-770-8869 or 203-972-3310. For your custom painting, finishing, and staining needs, it's Mike Cizik.
Do you need help reaching or maintaining your fitness goals? For over 20 years, Mike Pernice has tailored his time and expertise to clients on both coasts whose schedules demand flexibility and accountability. Mike is a certified lifestyle manager and has been called upon to help his clients eliminate negative behaviors such as coping with stress, improving their time management, setting realistic life goals, and cutting down compulsive behavior. If you're ready to start working toward a more energetic, productive, and healthier you, call Mike Pernice.
Join the HAN Network and Make-A-Wish Connecticut to help make travel wishes come true for local kids with life-threatening medical conditions. Donate your unused airline miles to the HAN Network Wishes in Flight campaign. Over 70% of wishes granted involve travel, and your unused airline miles can help make kids' dreams become a reality. Plus, once you donate your miles to Make-A-Wish, they will never expire. Donate your unused miles and help the HAN Network share the power of a wish.
I'm Kate Chaplinsky. Join us for Coffee Break, weekdays at 11 to get the latest Connecticut news, weather, high school sports, and more. News doesn't get any more local than on Coffee Break on the HAN Network.
And again, as we're back on Nutmeg Sports, my thanks to Mike Sportini. You can find him online. Great Twitter follow. Laxworm is his nickname, if you will. So follow him and check him out. As we move now to today's broadcast, we have a girls lacrosse game at Darien High School between the Blue Wave and Massapequa coming out, or Manhasset, coming out of Long Island. As I'm looking at the standings from Nassau County Conference number 1. Manhasset, very good. They're 7-0 on the year, 5-0 in the conference. Garden City right there at 10-1 and 4-1 in the conference. I bring up Garden City because among the teams that New Canaan has one loss on the year. Their loss to Garden City. Darien has a loss as well, let me correct that. New Canaan has a loss to Middle Country. Darien has a loss to Garden City. I think I've got that all straight now. So nonetheless, what I'm getting at here is you've got Darien and Manhasset, two good teams. It's another battle of the sound type of game as you look at the schedules in the FCAC. New Canaan overall, now they are 7-1, I believe up to 8-1. Darien 8-1 on the year. The standings just not entirely updated, but you get my point. Darien and New Canaan are just the home office for lacrosse, whether it's girls or boys lacrosse. And we had a chance on the FCAC tour, of course, to talk with so many of these teams, and among them would be the girls lacrosse team from the Darien Blue Wave. That's the way we'll wrap up this edition of Nutmeg Sports for Wednesday. We ask you to join us at 4 o'clock for the broadcast from Darien High School. Of course, you know tomorrow we have Coffee Break as well as Yankee Fisherman and Arts and Leisure. But for Eric Gendron, our entire crew, a thanks to Mike Sportini, I'm Rob Adams. Enjoy your Wednesday, but stick around now for the girls lacrosse interview with the Darien Blue Wave on Nutmeg Sports. We have the girls lacrosse team from Darien High School. I'm Rob Adams on the HAN Network. We're inside the HAN Cruiser today, a little bit under the weather outside, or, not so great weather outside, although we might all be under the weather. Let's find out who they are, and we'll talk some girls lacrosse. Who are you?
Hi, I'm Daphne. I'm Chandler.
Oh, that's right. You're supposed to be doing the microphone. Go ahead.
I'm Chandler Kirby. I'm Kaylee.
Okay, we've got the microphone. They're better than me already. Daphne, first of all, going to Gettysburg for lacrosse. Congratulations. Fun fact, though. Tell me about it.
So our fun fact, or kind of a pregame ritual, is that before every game, really intense games, we put on eye black. The whole team does it while listening to music, and it gets us really pumped up and ready for the game.
Now, is it just, eye black under the eyes, or are we doing the war paint? What are you doing?
We normally just do eye black under the eyes because it starts to run, so we don't really want to put it anywhere else.
I wouldn't think so. All right, Chandler, and of course, we've talked to Chandler before as well, going to Michigan. What's the music you listen to?
Well,
microphone. There we go. Now we're back
okay,
on.
well, let's see. One of our favorite songs is My House by Flo Rida. That's one of our favorites. But then other than that, we still have to make a playlist, but we have a lot of pump-up songs ranging from, like, Lil Wayne to anything, really.
Bieber.
Yeah, we have it all, so we're excited.
Okay, not big on the rock and roll. We'll head over now to Kelly. And going to the University of Pennsylvania, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. What made you want to go to UPenn?
Well, both my parents went there, actually, and my dad played lacrosse there, so it's just kind of always been in the family. But I just fell in love with it the moment I stepped on campus.
No, it's a great place to go. What do you do before a game?
I like to do art before games to relax. I actually probably have
I
paint on
see
my
that.
hands right now, probably. Yeah, it's nice, relaxing.
What do you work in? What's your medium?
I usually do paint, but I also do like pencil, pen, anything really.
Very nice. Is there a particular thing you'll paint or draw? Is there kind of a style you go for?
Well, right now I am doing a lot of like graffiti style stuff.
Really?
Yeah, I have like spray paint all over me right now. But yeah, I really enjoy graffiti at the moment.
Very cool. All right. What kind of a season is it going to be for this team?
Well, I think that we all believe that it's going to be a really good season, a great season, because we had our first scrimmage last week, and we came out really strong with a lot of intensity, and I think that everyone wants to do well, and it's just a good team so far. So I think that everyone's going to bring something to the table.
Chandler, how were the losses to graduation? A lot?
Well, yeah, we definitely lost a lot of tremendous players. I think two of our attackers, a lot of our defenders, great goalie, but I think we also returned a lot of our really strong players, and I think scoring won't really be an issue for us. And so, yeah, we're really excited.
Should be a good year for them, and I know they're excited. We're excited to see them down the road. I believe we've got you at some point during the year. I think Manhasset, New York's coming here, and I believe we've got that game on the HAN Network, so that's exciting. We'll look forward to that. We'll look forward to seeing them a lot more. It's the girls lacrosse team right here on the HAN Network.